Today we are going to be breaking down episode 1 of Roller Jam. Roller Jam is on HBO Max and we are getting a new episode every Thursday. I'm not gonna tell you any spoilers of like who goes where. By the way, just in case you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil anything for you. I have been so excited about this show coming out and we are going to be breaking down every single episode every single week, starting obviously with episode 1. Now, before we get into the breakdown, I want to introduce myself. My name is Nicole Fiore. I come from a roller skating family. I've been skating for my entire life. I have won 4 world championships and I have been so fortunate to work with some of the most amazing people in the industry, including a lot of the skaters we are about to see in this episode. Now, in this first episode, we get to know 5 of the teams. Next episode, we will get to know the next 5 teams. There's a total of 10 teams. Now, if you want to learn any of these moves that are done in this episode and in the upcoming episodes, I teach online as well as in person. I have memberships and a course on foundations. The membership includes hundreds of videos, drills, skills, and choreography videos so that you too can start skating just like these pros. Firstly, it is the first roller skating competition show, which is wild because this sport is made for competition. We have artistic roller skating, we have jam skaters, we have rhythm skaters, we have so many different disciplines represented on this show, and that is going to be one of those amazing things and one of the most difficult things for judging. Speaking of our judges, we have 3 judges in every episode. Terrell Ferguson, if you are a skater, you know him, you love him. Terrell is awesome. He's an awesome guy and an awesome skater. We also have Johnny Weir, which if you're an artistic skater, from one world champion to another, I love you so much. I adore you. And then every week we have a new guest judge or a third judge. This episode, we have Peppa from Salt and Pepper. I almost literally said Salt and Pepper. Salt and Peppa. Because it is the 90s episode, so we are gonna go through the decades. And the 90s has some very good skating songs. As a 90s baby myself, I was very excited for this. The 5 teams that we are going to meet. We have Trendsetters, the Bad Boys. I think it's the Bad Boys Skate Crew. They're on my shirt. Bad Boys Skate Crew. We have the Lone Stars of Texas, Hot Wheels, and we have Skate Gravity. Now, all of these teams are very, very different. And that is a fun thing about roller skating is we skate on our own and by ourselves a lot of the time, but you can also combine your style with other skaters. And you can combine it with skaters who have similar style to you. You can also combine it with skaters who have completely different style to you. Now, I come from the artistic world, so I know the Texas team because they grew up skating against my skaters that I was teaching at the time. My skaters, as well as some people you are going to meet in the next episode, compete against them every year. So this is kind of a fun little twist. Another fun fact is that the floor they use in this competition, it is a beautiful wood floor. That is the United States Artistic Roller Skating practice floor. So that's our national practice floor for artistic skating. So that's another just like fun fact. I am going to be breaking down a few of these moves that these crews do. Not every single move, but we will go over some very specific things that these crews do in their routines. The judges are judging on 2 criteria, technique and creativity. So when Bad Boys Skate Crew comes out, they start with choreography and they are hitting that choreography all together. That is super, super important, especially when you have a crew or a team to hit the same beats at the same time. Now, they start rolling and they start rolling really fast. This is so good for these judges to see, especially being the first group out, because we aren't really sure. Are people going to be dancing on skates? Are people going to be rolling? Are they going to be doing both at the same time? What kind of lifts are we going to see? Lifting is a huge thing in skating, especially with teams, because you can actually lift when you have more than one person instead of throwing yourself into the air. Even if the lifts aren't the biggest lifts possible, if they're not like over the head lifts, The intricacies of the lift are super, super important, and how you actually use your teammates. So when you are doing a lift, a lot of people think that the base is the only important thing. That is completely false. You can tell by the way people get lifted, so the ones in the air, if they are comfortable, if they are holding their own weight. There are two different people you can lift. Someone who can hold their weight up in the air and someone who is a sack of potatoes. I have been called both. Something that they did really well when they are moving is they showed levels. They bent down, they came up, they showed different edges and different styles, even within their own skating. Now here's a lift. When you are lifting like that, you have to make sure that the person in the air has a really, really strong body position here. You can tell when the shoulders get lifted up that they're not necessarily as comfortable as they should be. That is on both parties. That could be timing on how the lift goes up, or it could be just how they are bracing themselves. So little things like that are what I want you to watch, especially going into the next episode. That is a very fun thing to be able to watch and kind of know what's happening, know how these things work, because it's not only about the skills that are being done with the feet. A lot of body goes into skating as well. Now this lift that they did here, very cool, but just lifting and putting back down is not as impressive as it could be. If he could have skated or rotated with her, that would have been awesome, but they kill it with the choreography. This is really good, seeing them all move together like that and really hit the choreography hard. That is always very impressive. Okay, now like I said, this team is very cool for me to see because I know these kids. They're grown. They're grown people now. They are used to competition. They are used to skating with each other, and they are going to do a lot of different elements that I teach within my membership. So they started off with a spin and a lift. This lift is cool because she stands on each of the guy's thighs and she dances up in the air while standing on them, both of them, which I thought was a really cute idea. That's a really cool trick to open it up like that. Loved that. Now he takes her down, but he spins. That is an element that I love, and we will get into it later with the last group because Johnny and Terrell were arguing whether when the guy is spinning while lifting, if that is considered a spin or a lift. I agree with Terrell. In my book, that's a lift. You should be moving while you are lifting. You should not be stationary. You should be spinning. You should be traveling. You should be doing something. When you're lifting in artistic roller skating, you are typically moving. You don't stop and do a lift and then skate again. It all happens at the same time. So for me, this is a lift. This is not considered a spin, but it is very good that he is rotating while he's doing that. And the camera angles that they get for this, let me also mention, these teams are not doing this routine one time through. It's not one and done. They are doing this multiple times. I'm not sure how many times because I was not there during filming, but the camera angles alone, they have wide shots and they have close-up shots that someone is moving around them. So they have to do at least 2 takes of these routines. That lift was cool. The girls balancing on the guys' backs, no hands. That was pretty sweet. Pushing, using their toe stops. All of these skaters have toe stops in. They do 3 turns. They do pushing, they do international pushing. These skaters are dance skaters. So you'll hear dance skating. Now there are multiple types of dance skating. There is artistic dance skating. They are primarily dance skaters, and that is compulsory dance, style dance, free dance. There's also dance skating in terms of like you're at Venice Beach and you see people in the skate plaza dance skating. More stationary, maybe a downtown side to side. There's a lot of different terms that get very confusing, but these skaters are dance skaters, artistic dance skaters. Now they are lifting while they are moving. Again, very, very important when you are doing these lifts. You don't want to be stationary. They are doing a right inner forward 3 turns, stepping forward. They also have traveling turns in here. If you want to learn any of these things, please sign up for a membership at thatnicolefiore.com or on my YouTube channel. I teach all of it. They are used to performing and making big faces and showing off to not just a panel of judges, but to a crowd. So they do a good job of doing this because they're very animated when they skate. Timing here, not great. They, like I said, are dance skaters, artistic dance skaters. So their moments where they had to dance together stationary were not the strongest, but I truly do believe that they will improve that, hopefully, in the next episode. It is so cool to see skating in this huge spotlight. When I say like we've all been waiting for this our entire lives, like I'm not even exaggerating. Some of these skaters have not been skating for their entire lives, but quite a few of them have. And it just means a lot. It means a lot to us. So shout out to Chip and Joanna Gaines for making this happen. And shout out to everyone who had a hand in this. We all are very, very grateful and we all appreciate you. Now this next crew, the Trendsetters, they have a lot of jumps. They have a lot of jumps. And the impressive part about jumping with a group of people is jumping at the same time. That's really impressive, being on beat and together. So good. Yes, my background is artistic roller skating, but I don't believe that artistic roller skating is better than any genre of skating. But I will say that the foundations and technique taught in artistic roller skating is super, super helpful for all of the different styles of skating. So like my foundations course that I have on my site, thatnicolefiore.com, super, super helpful for not just artistic roller skating, but for roller derby, for jam skating, for rhythm skating, any style of skating. An artistic roller skating background is super helpful because if you watch these guys' jumps, they're very good at jumping. They're very good at rotating in the air and rotating very quickly in the air, but they don't necessarily have the mechanics to tighten up their core, bend their knees so that their timing is perfect to keep them very steady when they land. When you watch them, sometimes it's like a little here, a little there. Of course, that happens to everyone. You're not gonna jump perfectly every time. Any artistic skater can tell you that, or else everyone would be doing clean routines at all times, and that is just not even possible. But that would be very helpful for them to work on their core stabilization and knowing exactly when to bend their knees when they are landing and how to soften the knee when they are landing. If you want to jump, I can help you out. Right here, he is going to skate, turn around, and do a backflip over them. Over 3 of them. That's insane. Doing a backflip on roller skates is absolutely wild. Doing it over your friends, those are some very trusting friends. Let's just say that. Okay, now we have the Hot Wheels. These ladies, I love and adore them. There are a lot of skaters at Venice Beach every week. I would say every weekend, but honestly, it's become a week thing too. Every time I go to that area, these ladies are there. So this crew is not necessarily a crew. It just happens to be a group of women who skate together a lot. So luckily, when you skate around people a lot, you do get to know their style and you do kind of start to skate in a similar way. Now, this is a good example of these girls do not skate the same. They all have their things, but like Maddie explains, they are very strong women and they are able to do a lot of the very difficult skills that usually only men do, and that is super, super impressive. I love them. Also, they skate to Wannabe by Spice Girls, and I have choreography to that song that is super, super fun. So if you want to dance to that song, check it out in the membership. They have some crab walks. These are, like I said, all skills that I do in my membership. They have a slingshot, hurricane kicks. That's basically a 3-turn while kicking your leg and turning side to side. they are able to get down on the ground and look super cute doing it. That is a really difficult thing to do. They do a nice pull through right here, and they do a lift in this routine. That is not super common to have a girl lift another girl. It's really hard to control your own weight on skates, let alone another human. She does a handstand, kicks up into this lift, and Maddie is spinning her. Now, they go one time around. I am sure that they would have gone more times around. I know that they can go more times around. But in this lift specifically, it looks really cool when you're able to let go with the hands. You use the hands to stabilize yourself, get on your partner, and then you let go, and then you're like flying. They did talk about this. Maddie, she doesn't land her flare. And that is when you jump back onto your hands and you kick your legs up. Terrifying and difficult skill to do. And she doesn't nail it. She kind of like drops her weight down onto the ground instead of landing it. They talk about it, but like Terrell said, that's a very difficult move, like extremely difficult move. So when you see people do it, now you should know how difficult that is, because Maddie's very strong, and for her to not fully nail it, that just shows you how difficult the move is. Okay, now before we move on to our last group, skate gravity, which literally you can guess by the name, they are gonna do some crazy stuff. Back to Hot Wheels, it's a group of women, only women, and they say that it is a male-dominated sport. I agree with that in a lot of ways, but also the ladies are kind of taken over, I feel like. Now, yes, I am a woman and I am saying that, but I genuinely feel like that is the most powerful I can feel in life, is on roller skates. When I put skates on, I feel that I can command attention. Like, I can do whatever I want to do. And I take that feeling and I carry that through life. So I always talk about this in my classes, but when you develop that confidence, when you learn something new, when you challenge your body, when you challenge yourself, and you gain confidence doing that, because duh, you're gonna gain confidence because you're doing that, but also it carries on through your entire life. So when you're working on your posture and skating, and you're working on keeping your chin up, keeping your chest up, and not letting life bring you down, then the next time you're walking through the grocery store, you're not going to be walking through like this. You're going to still be working on that posture. You're going to keep your body up. You're going to keep your chin up, and you are going to have so much more confidence, even if it's not actually there yet. Fake it till you make it, baby. Okay, so this next group, they all come from very different backgrounds. They are going to be doing some crazy lifts. Now, when I say crazy lifts, I mean crazy lifts. I have been spun around by just a skate, and it is one of the most terrifying things I've ever done in my life. Their whole thing is that like nobody can do what they do, and there are some people I know who can do what they do, but on this show, there is no other team who is going to be doing what they are doing. Okay, so this lift that they open with looks very impressive. It's honestly one of the easiest lifts you can do because you're rotating, and the girls simply have to kick their legs up, arch their backs. Now, you need to have some flexibility in order to do that, and the guys have to lift with their shoulders. But it looks very impressive, and I'm glad they did it at the very beginning and then ramped it up from there. The running man on skates, 2-foot spin, love it. Dancing, they're almost doing a C-step there. Very cool move. Okay, let's talk about this. This guy, the one lifting Kim right now, he does shows in Vegas. And the shows in Vegas with skates are typically done on a platform, and they do spin lifts like this nonstop. So he knows what he's doing, especially now that he has a huge floor. He's used to being on a tiny little pedestal. So this is probably a piece of cake for him. So easy. Now, Kim is in a split. This is very dangerous. The judges say that like people are going to try this at home. I do not recommend trying this at home. I 10 out of 10 recommend skating at home. Absolutely, for sure. Do not take someone by the skate and hand and spin them around. Please, please don't do that. Not until you are trained by someone who knows what they are doing. Please do not just randomly attempt that at home on a Wednesday night. So he is holding her wrist and he has his arm locked to her skate. Now he's holding like her leg. Her skate's behind him. A skate is pretty big. So as long as you are strong enough to keep that arm down and keep it clenched tight onto the skater's leg, that skate isn't going to go anywhere unless, this is actually a very good point, unless your skate is not tied very tight and it's going to slip off. That can happen. I've seen it happen. And I just had a friend ask me, how tight am I supposed to tie my skates? As tight as you can, as tight as you want. Especially if you're going to do something like this, you want to have that skate attached to your body. You do not want that skate to go flying off and then your leg to go pew out of the guy's hand. Okay, now no one talks about how difficult that is to come out of that and then go into something. When you are being spun like that, you don't see anything. So like on a heel toe spin, on a very fast spin, skaters don't spot. You can't. You're spinning too fast, it would not work. So the world just kind of glazes over. Everything is just a blur. And then you stop. And if you practice this enough, you know where your front is. You know when to stop, you know how to stop, and you can stop on a dime. When you come out of a lift like this, you yourself, if you're the person in the air, you're not causing the spin to happen. So it's a little harder to gauge where your partner is. And if you're not super comfortable being in the air, when you get done with that spin, you're very dizzy and you feel a little sick. So for her to put her leg down, you have to press an edge. I talk about edges a lot. There are many reasons why an edge is super, super important. And this is another random reason why edges are super important. When you come out of a lift and your partner is spinning and you put that foot down, it has to press on an edge or you're just going to eat it. This is a simple split. Her leg is balancing on his skate. So she puts one foot this way on the skate, locks it on, and then stretches her other leg out to do a split. This lift is a simple airplane. That is what the lift is called. Getting into it, it's a beautiful lift. Getting into it though from already spinning is really difficult, and you can see her like have to muscle it up. This is what I mean by both partners have to know what they're doing and be very strong. He then continues that lift, but balances her only on his head. No hands. One little slip, one little relaxation of one single ab muscle and you're sliding off his head. Wild. Anyway, those are our 5 competitors that we met. And we are going to, like I said, meet the next 5 next episode. One team does go home in this first episode. And like I said, I'm not going to spoil it for you. But next episode, I am so excited about the next episode because I have so many friends on those teams and I am so excited to see them all battle it out. I honestly have no idea. I shouldn't say I have no idea. I have a few ideas as to who will win the entire thing. But with that said, anything can go wrong at any time with any of these teams. And in the preview for the next episode, at the end of this first one, they do show multiple times where someone falls and hurts themselves. Another one where an ambulance has to come get someone during a practice. Skating is dangerous. Skating is dangerous, especially when you're doing stuff like this. Normal skating, sure, there's danger in anything you can do. But if you learn proper technique, I promise you, you can be safe while skating. If you yourself would like to learn how to skate, please let me know. Check out my membership on YouTube or on thatnicolefiore.com, and please check out the Foundations course as well. I am available for private lessons online and in person, and I have workshops once a month. Please go to HBO Max and watch Roller Jam. Please, because it's everything to us. The whole skating community, we need more of this. We need roller skating to be shown on a big stage and in a big, beautiful spotlight that it deserves. So thank you, HBO Max. Thank you, Chip and Joanna Gaines. Thank you, Terrell. Thank you, Johnny Weir. Thank you, Peppa. Thank you, Jordan Sparks. Thank you, everyone who is a part of this. We are all rooting for roller skating together, so we'll see what team wins. All right, see you next week for episode 2. Bye. Ow, I was sitting like that for too long. I need a stretch. My hips. Shout out to roller skating.